Hey guys, in today's video I thought I would show you what I'm going to be reading over the summer holidays to give you some ideas of what you might want to read. So since it's such a long break, I decided to pick up a few books from my library. And here they are. So I just wanted to say that before I film this video, I have actually read some of the books at this point because I'm quite far into my summer holidays, but I couldn't find my camera charger, so therefore couldn't film a video, and therefore had to start reading this pile. So if I talk about the books like I have read them, it's because I have. So a few of these books I've actually decided to read again. I read either quite a while ago or just because I love the stories so much and I wanted to kind of get more from them. I'm actually rereading because I read it a few years ago. I absolutely loved it, but I was quite young when I read it, so I don't think I really appreciated the whole book, if you can kind of say that. The film is coming out. It's a very moving book, and if you haven't read it, I highly recommend you read it before you go see the film. The next book is actually the sequel. I have not read this before because I didn't realise there was a sequel, and I think that at the time I read it, it might not have actually been published. It actually sounds really depressing, and I really don't want to read it because I don't think I can bear a depressing ending, a depressing sequel to a depressing book. So for those of you who don't know, I am an absolute massive tryhard. Surprisingly, I haven't read this book yet. I don't know why. I've just been reading so many other books, I haven't had the time, but it looks really amazing and I really need to read it. So this should really be 3 books, but the third one's actually on my phone because I couldn't find it at the library, which is kind of annoying. For those of you who don't know, this is the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare. It's the series that comes before the Mortal Instruments, so I've actually finished this series now. It was one of my favourite books. The ending is perfect, unbelievably beautiful as well. And I think it's one of the only book series I've read where there's actually a love triangle. I know Twilight claims to be a love triangle, Mortal Instruments is supposedly a love triangle with Simon, Jace, but this is the only book I've ever read where there are actually, I couldn't choose. And the ending kind of fits it perfectly, but it's tragic and it's beautiful, and I need to reread City of Heavenly Fire now just because of all the tied up ends of this series, and I really want to go to Blackfriars Bridge now. So I'm sure all of you will have read this book. It's the third book in the Divergent series, Allegiant by Veronica Roth. This is possibly one of the saddest books I've ever read. I'm not going to spoil anything in case you haven't read it, just because this is a to-be-read list, so I shouldn't really give anything away. But I'm going to be reading this because I did find the plot actually quite confusing the first time I read it, because there were so many confusing things with genetically pure, genetically modified, stuff like that. So this again is a series of 2 books. I think if you just look at the covers, it just makes you want to read them. They're by the author of Ere I Stay. 2 books, Just One Day and Just One Year. I think like a romance based in Paris. I'm not particularly sure of the plot, but I do love the author. It just looks like a really good book, and I thought I'd try the 2. I'm sure all of you will have read at least one John Green book. I would bet that most of you have read The Fault in Our Stars, but I do recommend, if you haven't, to read some of his other books because they are equally as good. Now this book, Paper Towns by John Green, I really enjoyed. I did think it had a kind of similar plotline to Looking for Alaska, but it was a very different story really, but the plots did kind of merge a little bit and discovering who this mystery girl was. My other John Green book I need to read is An Abundance of Catherines. Particularly wouldn't appeal to me if I hadn't known the author because it's another kind of road trip book, which I tend to find a little bit boring because they get really repetitive. But I have started it and it does kind of flow really well, and I really like the story. And his writing just makes it really easy to read, I find. Then I have these 3 books, which are part of the series I'm sure you will recognise. If you're wondering why they are so tattered, I did not do it. These are library books, so I did not tatter that. I would never do that to a book. These are 3 books: City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Lost Souls. I am intending to actually reread the whole Mortal Instruments series. I've read City of Bones again, but I only have 3 of them here. I'm missing Fallen Angels. I have Heavenly Fire on my bookshelf, but I don't know why I haven't got it here. If you haven't read the Mortal Instruments series, I seriously recommend it. It's really just, the feels are incredible. This is one of my favourites in the series, just because you kind of see a really dark side of all the characters, and I find that really interesting because it really differs from the other types of books in the series. So this book, The Unbecoming of Mara Dwyer, I've heard tons and tons of recommendations of this book. It just sounds kind of like a moving story, and it just sounds like a really good book. So the last book on my reading list is Elsewhere by Gabrielle Zevin. I'm not sure how you say it. Again, this book I think has a really interesting plotline. I haven't read it yet, but it's sort of written like a variation of what heaven is, I think, from what I've read of the blurb and what I've been told. So it sounds like a really interesting read actually, and something different to try. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It would really help me and I really appreciate it. If you have any video requests or anything you want to say on my videos, comment down below. I will read all your comments and reply. I'll see you guys next video. Bye!